Hi everyone and welcome back to ABG's Investors Day. My name is Alexander Wadman and I'm an analyst here at ABG. With us today we have the CEO of StrongPoint, Jakob TV Råback. He will present the company and I will follow up with a couple of questions. With that being said, please go ahead, Jakob.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to present StrongPoint to you all. So StrongPoint, we present or provide a set of technology solutions to grocery retailers. We have been in business for many years. So we like to say that we have been in business for more than 35 years, or we have actually been in business for 37 years. We have offices in 8 countries, where Norway and Sweden have been the historic gravity of StrongPoint, but we extended that into the Baltics, the 3 Baltic countries, UK, Ireland, and also Spain. Our revenue from grocery retailers, which is the primary focus of us, is in excess of 80%, or about 84% if you're exact, and we have a turnover last year of 1.4 billion Norwegian crowns. And we have 500 people all across these countries that we represent. And for us, it's very important to get across that we are not only selling solutions, but we're also doing the installation, the service, and the support, and the aftermarket. And part of the value proposition of StrongPoint, if you want, is that we actually can provide it all from sales all the way to the next sales, if you want. If you then move to the next page, I wanted also to talk a bit about our market before getting more concrete about the solutions that StrongPoint offers. And I think in today's context, this is more important than ever. So number one is that our customers are the grocery retailers, and with that high level of revenue stemming from grocery retailers, we feel relatively secure and safe, both in terms of getting payments for the solutions and products we sell, but also from the stable demand from these resilient customers. The grocery retail market as such is what you call a non-cyclical market. Well, sure, there is always going to be the move between eating in and eating out. But if anything, in hard days where household income is being put at the test, that provides more revenue and more activity in the grocery store. And lastly, we are in 8 countries and more if you count the partner countries that we are in. An important part of the StrongPoint story is that we are stemming, or we're having a heritage from Scandinavia, leading on efficiency. And whereas we often maybe forget about it or don't think about it, the high or relatively high labor costs, also for low-cost labor in Norway, in Sweden, etc., is leading us to efficiencies that is needed from the customer and market side, that is making our solutions some of the best there is in the world. And that is the StrongPoint story, really, which I'll talk more about in a second. If you're looking at grocery retailers, I mean, sure, they're under constant pressure. And I'm sure you've heard and read much about the 3 trends that I wanted to just touch upon. One being competition with inflation, and in particular, food inflation increasing. That is something that's been putting pressure on traditional grocery retailers in the sense of getting more demand for private label, getting more demand from discounters. And not least also being competitive on price and handling all the price changes that there are. Secondly, there's still a very hard environment to recruit and not least retain staff. And lastly, in e-commerce, it's accessible yet expensive for many, but it's unprofitable for many. The lock to e-commerce profitability has been a conundrum for many companies out there. And we know for sure that grocers need to take a number of actions to withstand these pressures. But what we and I feel very confident about is that technology will be a vital and integral part of the solution to these challenges. So if you don't think about, if these are the pressure and trends and that the grocery retailers are experiencing, let me try to make the solutions that StrongPoint offer more concrete for you all, in case you don't know StrongPoint that well. So in terms of the solutions we offer in-store, to start there, I'll do the e-commerce in a second, but our in-store solutions, they are a combination of proprietary solutions to StrongPoint and also some world-class third-party solutions. So if I start from top here, electronic shelf labels, well, we just talked about how inflation is driving a lot of price changes, how it's driving the competitiveness in the space. And whereas we have in Norway and in Sweden, to a large extent, been exposed to electronic shelf labels and electronic shelf labels from Pricer that StrongPoint represent. This is not the case in most of Europe or the world. But electronic shelf labels is absolutely the way to reduce labor usage in store when price changes are as frequent as we see now. We talked in the trend about shortages of staff. Well, surely self-checkout solutions is part of the answer to ensuring that grocers can withstand that pressure as well. And I will be very quick in saying our self-checkout solution has been developed, both the hardware and the software, from our Baltic origins. And that solution, or those solutions, are being moved now into Norway and Sweden. So I like to say that if you go to any Swedish or Norwegian self-checkout and you are still been hassling with punching in which bananas you have put on the scale, the StrongPoint solution, offering a integral or integrated item recognition of the items on the scale, we automatically detect bananas, making fraud more difficult for the consumer, hence also improving the shrinkage in the store, but not least also ensuring that the customer journey is a lot more smooth. I will not go through all these solutions, but you will have seen a number of these solutions in grocery stores in Norway and Sweden. Cash management and cash card is one of those, and including Vensafe, where we have our own proprietary developed solution to contain and secure high value items from theft, which again is high on the agenda of grocery retailers today. I also wanted to touch upon the e-commerce opportunities arising from the solutions that we offer. So if you go to the next page, and we similarly take the roof off the grocery store, you will see that we first and foremost have a order picking solution. A order picking solution that can be used in store as well as in dark stores, and this is the preeminent solution being used in Sweden today. So that said, what we realized very quickly is that the solution we have offered and have developed have had to always keep in mind the relatively high labor costs of what's supposed to be low-cost labor. That has meant that we had to develop something that's truly efficient, and the benchmark picking efficiency per hour that we have been operating with customers across countries is 240 items. That is 2 times, if not 3 times higher than the benchmark seen out there. So we are still very prosperous about getting our solution out to more customers in Europe. Should also be said that in addition to in-store picking and dark store picking, we have gone into a partnership with a Norwegian, if you go back one please, with a Norwegian giant AutoStore. So AutoStore, second largest IPO done in Norway after Statoil, have done a partnership with StrongPoint, where StrongPoint has been selected the only grocery-specific AutoStore distributor. And we have earlier this year concluded on one project, our first project, and we're still working on the second project, which is a world news, namely having a 3 temperature zoned AutoStore. So ambient, chill and frozen, which obviously is very important when you're dealing with grocers. We have all the set of last mile solutions that is in the market. We are the leading when it comes to grocery lockers, whether stationary and mobile. You will have seen this across Sweden. We offer home delivery services predominantly through Gordon Delivery, a partnership we have there. We have in-store pickup and also drive-through solutions. So the point is that if you're a grocer and whether you have solutions needed in-store or in e-commerce, StrongPoint has the entire portfolio. Now you can move to the next page, because I just really want to reiterate again that what we have developed in Norway and Sweden and the relationship we have with grocers, with ICA, with Axfood, with Coop Bergendahls, Norgesgruppen, Rema 1000, and also Coop in Norway, basically serving all the major grocery retailers and having exposure with all the solutions that you just have seen on the last few pages. Our ambition for the next few years is to export these highly efficient solutions to other parts of Europe. That is, in essence, what you should believe about in the StrongPoint story. We see that the solutions we offer on e-commerce is something that's very valuable for grocers that have ventured into e-commerce but still not making it profitable, as is our experience, for instance, in electronic shelf label, where there's a large virgin territory both in UK, Ireland, and Spain. And if you go on the next page, I really also want to hone in on the UK and Ireland. We went into the UK and Ireland last year through the acquisition of a very esteemed, very proud company called Airlink Group. Airlink Group have customers like Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury, and more. Clearly the top grocery retailers, not just in the UK, but highly respected in the entire Europe, if not the world. And a lot of the challenges that we are seeing taking place in the UK and Irish market are some of the challenges that have already been overcome by Scandinavian retailers. So we believe wholeheartedly in the opportunities to get electronic shelf labels with Pricer out in the market, to get our Vensafe out there to ensure that tobacco and other kinds of high value items, products are protected, to get our best-in-class order picking solution and click and collect lockers out in the market, and not least also getting some of the AutoStore solutions up and running also in these markets. So I just really wanted to highlight that the story and the experience we have from Scandinavia is something we both can and will be exporting to the larger European markets. If we then go to the next page and we talk about, well, really what are the white space opportunities for a company like StrongPoint? You can divide these in two in essence. One is that in our mature markets like Norway, Sweden, and the 3 Baltic countries, where we have a 100% penetration with grocery retailers, we're far from having 100% penetration with our solutions. There's still lots of stores in Norway without Vensafe. We haven't even penetrated the market yet with our award-winning self-checkout solution, and e-commerce is still in its infancy in Norway, as an example. And same goes for Sweden and the Baltics. So lots of additional solution penetration opportunity in those markets. If you look at the UK and Ireland market and the Spanish market, we are far from 100% grocery chain coverage. So that is a obvious white space. We want to develop these organizations into serving more grocery retailers in these new markets. And with that also follows the solution penetration is relatively low. We talked about the UK, but similarly we have in Spain. And whereas I've said a number of times that when you in Norway and Sweden go on vacation to Italy, Spain, and other Mediterranean countries, it to some extent feels like going into a time capsule, moving back in time. Because the solutions we take for granted in Norway, Sweden, is far from being something you can take for granted in a country like Spain. And so why am I saying this? Well, something like cash management, which is not so, again, use the word sexy, not as sexy in Norway and Sweden. I mean, it's clearly on decline, single digits transaction being handled with cash. But in a country like Spain, you still have 55 to 60% of transaction being handled with cash. At least in Norway, you need to go back to the 1990s to find those numbers. And so the point being, cash management will live on for many, many years in Spain, and there's lots of opportunities to be captured also in that market. If we go to the next page, in 2020, we laid out our financial and strategic ambitions for 2025. Firstly, we said we will become a pure grocery technology company. We are that today. We divested non-core assets in the past, and we used parts of the proceeds to pay for the acquisition of Airlink Group. We said financially that we would have a revenue of 2.5 billion Norwegian kroner and an EBITDA of 13 to 15%. And the next two pages I will show you or put in perspective historically what we've done on revenue and EBITDA, and then how we view this going forward. So for the next page, look at what's been the development in our revenue of the past few years since we announced the 2025 revenue ambition. And so if you start from what was the retail technology division of StrongPoint in 2019, we were hitting some 800 million Norwegian kroner. And as I said, we divested successfully. So 2 business units, we have converted that, if you want, into a UK business. So up including 2022, we have been looking or are looking at a CAGR of 22% in terms of revenue. So going forward to 2025, we need to maintain that same level of revenue growth to get to the 2.5 billion. And we do believe that that's absolutely possible with organic growth and with some selected M&A activity. I should say we are very, very careful about what kind of acquisitions we do. We are in the business of doing good acquisitions, and the acquisition of ALS shows exactly that, with a very, very value-creating acquisition for the shareholders of StrongPoint. In terms of profitability, if you go to the next page, let's start on the left-hand side of this slide. So I showed you all the in-store solutions that StrongPoint offers. And historically and over the quarters, including Q1 2023, we have been achieving a 10 to 11% EBITDA on the in-store solutions that StrongPoint offers. That is including all corporate costs associated with that. And so, well, if that is giving us 10 to 11%, why are we then, as of last year, only achieving 5.5%? And there are 2 reasons for that. One has been and is the e-commerce investments that we are doing. We have been investing in people, in development of solutions, in trainings of out-of-store facilities that has been dragging our EBITDA historically. We have also had a bit of a turnaround in the Spanish organization last year. And I promised to the market at the beginning of 2022 that we would be achieving a break-even in Spain at the end of the year. We did that. Not only did we break even, but we also even had a small profit in 2022 Q4 in Spain. But still, for the year as a whole, it was dragging us. That led us to 5.5%. So how are we now going to more than double that margin to get to the 13 to 15% EBITDA? And there are three things we are focusing on. Number one, maintaining and even improving the in-store solution contributions. We are constantly working with our suppliers and not least our customers to ensure that we maintain the 10 to 11% and beyond profitability from in-store solutions. We're working very hard to ensure that e-commerce investments are paying off and becoming a contributor in 2025. We have high hopes and beliefs in both our order picking solutions, our grocery lockers, our partnerships with companies like AutoStore to provide automated solutions. So great beliefs in e-commerce and in particular in the British market where the e-commerce penetration is high, still well in excess of 10%, whilst the grocers are still struggling to get a way to profitability. And lastly is Spain and what we've called special projects. And I mentioned to you all how Spain is, or going to Spain in the grocery market is going into a time capsule, going back in time. And one of the reasons for saying that is because of the development of cash. And we are working on, and have been working on a very, very long but significant project that is in the cash management area. It's a project that has been taking us more than a year, actually a year and a half until now. We've been, with our solution, selected as 1 out of 11 suppliers around the world. And I've been in this company's laboratory. Sorry for not being able to disclose the customer yet, but in the laboratory for more than 8 months. And we are now gearing up for a live pilot to be started in Q3. That would have a monumental impact on the way that cash is being handled and will be a very value-creating solution for the grocery retailer at hand, and we believe for StrongPoint. So those will be the things. We need to maintain our profitability in the core products that StrongPoint have been offering for many years, and turning the e-commerce investments and Spanish and special projects investment into proper contributors for EBITDA. On the next page, and before rounding off, I also wanted to just illustrate to you all the next generation of cash card. This is the special project I was referring to. Essentially what it does is containing cash notes, that is, between front office and back office, meaning that a grocer would potentially be able to get credit for the money in the back office in the bank immediately. And more importantly, being able to reduce the number of CIT stops or cash in transit stops from providers of that solution from potentially close to every day to a much lower frequency stop, which will have a fantastic effect on the profitability for the store and the cost levels. So we're very profitable about, very positive about that solution being profitable for our customers and not least for StrongPoint. More on that in Q3 and Q4. So rounding off, before any questions, why should you as investor invest in StrongPoint? Well, first and foremost, we are operating in what we believe is a safe market, that is a stable, it's a growing and it's a profitable market, namely the grocery retail sector. StrongPoint as such, we're not a new kid on the block. We have been around business for 35 years. We have the experience, we have the clout and credibility that's needed with grocery retailers investing in business critical equipment. And we also have then the opportunity to partner with other technologies, as you've heard, AutoStore Pricer, that makes the StrongPoint offering really unique. And we've had a fantastic growth journey to date, and with existing customers and new customers, we are confident that we'll be both growing in the future and also achieving the financial and strategic ambitions we have set forth. So thank you. That's what I had. Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Jacob, for the presentation. And despite that we're running out of little time, I'll still be able to ask some questions. So perhaps you mentioned earlier the acquisition of ALS. Could you perhaps elaborate on the rationale behind the acquisition, and also what has surprised you positively about the deal and the performance?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, the market UK has always been on the list of StrongPoint for obvious reasons, but it's also been a very good product market fit in our eyes. So what we've been looking at is how can we enter the UK market most efficiently, and we concluded that doing that with a player like Airlink Group that have had Tesco, have had Sainsbury's, Asda, these prominent customers on their customer list for many, many years, is the right way to go about. To date, what's been really positive about the acquisition has been the immense work that we have been able to do in the year. I mean, it even caught StrongPoint by surprise that they were able to keep up not just keep up the historic good work, but also increase that. So it went way beyond what we had anticipated last year, Q3, Q4, when we had ALS in our books, and including now in Q1. I think what's really exciting about ALS is that that provides us with the opportunity to get the StrongPoint products in. And as you've heard, to date, we have, quote, only invested in people, getting trainings, getting the partnerships in place, getting the right customer discussions going. And I'm absolutely certain that we will be seeing the harvesting of those investments come into place in the next quarters and years to come.
Yes, thank you. And I believe this will wrap up the Q&A as well as ABG's Investors Day. Thank you, Jacob, for the presentation as well as the Q&A, and thanks everyone for listening. Thank you.